Welcome to another episode.
Hang on, sorry, I had my phone out. Okay, my bad.
Welcome to another episode of Are You RV Safe? I'm John.
And I'm Borgie. And in this episode, we're going to talk about the things that we never plan on happening, but inevitably it does. And that is breakdowns.
So we need to make sure that we are well prepared for any eventuality. And to that end, we'll also be looking at four-wheel drive recoveries.
So we hope you enjoy this episode of Are You RV Safe?
There's always a risk when we're travelling through this country of ours that there is going to be a breakdown. It could be mechanical, or most likely it's going to be one of your tyres. Now, if that's the case, my question to you is, do you believe that you're more valuable than a tyre and rim combination?
I'd like to think that I am.
You'd like to think you are?
Don't know about these two.
Definitely are.
Yeah, I reckon you are.
It's really sad if you hear a news report where someone's broken down and changing a tyre and they lose their life for the sake of not driving somewhere safer.
Yeah, it is, Martin. It really is a real problem. So what we've got to consider then is, can we then drive to somewhere that is nice and safe for us to get off the road, well off the road, so that we can change the tyre or deal with our mechanical issue easily?
What's a really good feature with our Volkswagen Amaroks is they actually come with a tyre pressure monitoring system. And what they'll do is alert you if one of the tyres is starting to lose pressure. And the best thing about that is it means you get a bit of a heads up, gives you more time to actually find a safe spot to pull over, as opposed to just finding out you got a flat tyre on the spot. Now that covers the vehicle. What we highly recommend is you actually get an aftermarket system for the caravan or trailer as well. There's plenty of aftermarket models available.
What happens when you let your tyre pressure down to go off-road or, like on the sand, and does it keep beeping at you?
The vehicle systems will come up with an alert of some description, probably just up on the screen in front of the driver, but there's always an option for you to be able to accept that and then just continue on with those lower pressures.
So in the spirit of becoming RV fit, it's time to go out. We'll find ourselves a nice and safe place to pull over, simulate a breakdown situation, and we'll run through a few of the tips to ensure we can keep nice and safe.
Hit the road. Let's do it.
Who is disrespecting these new cars?
Great day for a shoot. Raining. This is not good.
We're just trying to save a bit of money and warming up, we're just sharing a bit of body heat. It's good for morale.
Jesse's going to be towing the caravan on a highway for the first time today, and John's really laid back about it.
Okay.
That's all right.
Ease up. Can't go left.
Can't go left, all right.
Must go right. Watch the overheads.
Jessie needs to cross over the double-lane highway to turn right. There's a lot of traffic, she has a lot of passengers watching, and she's towing a large caravan. It's a lot of pressure.
Into the left lane.
It's got a bit more poke than the four-cylinder.
This V6 is enthusiastic.
What's the
It's energetic.
speed
I like
limit
it.
here?
110 here, but you are only allowed to do 100. Why?
Because we're towing.
Okay, because the combined weight of this car and the caravan is greater than 4.5 tonnes.
Okay.
So in New South Wales, we have 2 speed limits for towing.
Yep.
If you do 90 for me, that would be ideal.
Yes, we have broken down on the side of the road before. Whether it's been a flat tyre, I think at one stage our motor kept overheating.
How do you feel? You've done several Ks now at
feel
highway speeds.
Yeah, I feel good.
Feels good. Doing a U-turn here when it's clean and clear to do so.
First highway drive, and now first U-turn.
There you go. Excellent. Back up to speed.
That's the motor.
And let's use all the fuel while we're doing it.
So team, found ourselves a great little spot here. I shouldn't say little, we've actually got quite a lot of space here. So I'd like to ask you, if we did come across a breakdown location where we didn't have as much room, what are a few of the precautions we could take to increase our safety?
Hazards on.
Hazards on?
Move as far away to the side as possible.
Definitely.
And maybe try to alert people with some signage if you had anything to know that you have broken down.
100%. That's really good. Anybody else?
What Ev said.
What Ev said? a couple of other little ideas. So the first one would be actually turn your steering wheel the opposite way to the road, okay? And that way, if there was an accident, like an impact, the car isn't going to go jet shooting straight out into the middle of the road. Okay, so really, really good tip there. Something else is if you can exit the vehicle and move as far away from the vehicle as possible, somewhere in a safe location. If there's a barrier, if you can get over to the other side, that's going to offer you a bit of protection. If you couldn't do that and your best option was to stay inside the vehicle, seatbelts on, okay? Really, really important. And the third thing is to make sure you carry a safety vest, okay? Visibility could be poor where you're broken down, could be fog, could be dark, could be raining. Keeping one of these handy means other drivers on the road can spot you and avoid you if they need to. So really good thing.
As you said earlier on, this is a really nice space for us to pull over. We're well away from the road here. But what I'm going to do is I'll demonstrate for you how I would like the vehicle and caravan parked should we have less space available and we'd be closer to the road.
I've definitely broken down on the side of the road. Yeah, it was a bit of a dangerous place to stop. We were on the M1. I managed to pull over to the side of the road. Being it was a Suzuki, I wasn't going fast anyway, so I was in the slow lane. When I went to start the car again, I found a dam and filled it back up with water from the dam, and I turned the engine on and it blew all the water out the exhaust pipe. I ended up hitchhiking back to, I think, Bassifern train station and spent a lot of money on a rebuilt motor for a very poor car.
So the safe zones that we have created by parking the trailer and caravan like this, safe zone here because somebody would run into the back of the caravan. The other safe spot that we've created is here. So by parking it like this, jackknifing it like this, safe zone there, safe zone here, and then we have a safe zone on the front left-hand side as well. So that means that we are as safe as we can possibly be when we're closer to the roadside.
I've only broken down in suburbia. Breaking down in the middle of the outback is a concern, but nowadays there's more communication devices, satellite phones, CB radio. I guess we had CB radio for many years.
As we pull into the rest area as we've done, what we've got to think about, is it something that we can service ourselves, or do we need the help of somebody like 24/7 Road Services Australia?
24/7 Road Services Australia are product review award winners for the last 4 years in a row. They offer a very economical option for roadside assistance and cover the whole Australian road network. When towing a caravan, you need to be prepared for turns, as slowing down quickly is not an option.
Is the next turn soon?
Always check your mirrors before you change lane.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Is the next turn soon?
Where are you going?
We overshot a little bit. Jesse got a bit enthusiastic on the throttle, so we're just coming back now. We're just going to conduct a U-turn. So you're still driving at the speed that's driving the car. You're forgetting about the caravan.
What speed should I be driving?
Well, slower than this. I only normally come down at about 95.
Can we go in here?
In there.
At 95. RV recoveries, they're really different than just a four-wheel drive recovery in that there's a lot more weight involved. And when there's more weight involved, there's more chances of things going wrong, and also the repercussions can be a fair bit worse as well. We've got to really pay attention to safe working load limits and weight ratings, but if you get it right, you'll get yourself out of trouble.
For the purpose of learning how to use the winch, Evan has been tasked with finding a hill and positioning the Amarok and hitch camper trailer where it might lose traction.
Oh no, I am bogged.
Camera's rolling. Take 53.
So Evan, what's happened? How did you get stuck here? You're a keen four-wheel driver.
Yeah, we all make
Recovery,
mistakes.
what's going on?
We all make mistakes. I'm sure the people at home are going to see the footage. We've obviously set this up. We want to do a bit of winching and show everyone some winch practicing, and really it's a new car. I just want to play with some toys as well. Test out my gear.
Absolute opportune time to do exactly that.
Trees everywhere.
Got trees everywhere, bit of a gradient, 9,500 pound winch fitted to the vehicle.
That's right.
So yeah, I think we can do that very nicely.
So we know Ev's been winched out of trouble a few times. Jesse and Martin, have you been in a similar sort of situation?
Haven't been part of recovering anybody, but I've had to be recovered myself.
You have done.
Just drove into an absolute sinkhole, perfectly sound looking ground, and the back wheels just sunk into a hole and I had to be snatched out.
What about you, Jesse?
I'm the same as Martin. I've been recovered, but I haven't been the one doing the actual winching.
Ah, right, okay.
Oh, so this gives us a perfect opportunity then, Borgie, to start talking about the sort of calculations that we need to do to make sure that we recover this nice and safely. So we know that the vehicle is around about 2.7 tonnes in its current configuration. The trailer sitting on the back about 1.4, so that gives us about 4.1 tonne combined weight. But then we need to look at things like the type of terrain that we're on, and there are calculations we can do for that. And there are also calculations.
Look, folks, if you really want to simplify this, the best thing you can do is ahead of time, before you come out to the tracks, is to determine how much your whole setup actually weighs. So the GCM, or the gross combination mass. You can work that out at home, and that way when you get out on the tracks, you don't have to listen to John waffling it on.
I think he's gone, mate.
Thank God.
That's the 7th Logie we've won, I reckon. Yeah.
John,
Thanks for having us at your property, John.
When you purchase your recovery gear, make sure the components are rated for the weight of your entire setup plus a little extra, so you don't get caught out with underrated equipment. Four-wheel drive and RV recoveries have the potential to go very wrong, and people have lost their lives using the wrong gear or using it in the wrong way. Having the right gear and knowing how to use it will help keep you out of trouble.
Evan's just turned the isolator switch on, so if that's off, the winch doesn't receive any power from the battery. So always make sure you switch it on before you start your recovery and before you start using the winch. So we've got Evan inside the vehicle.
Recovery 1.
He's got his foot on the brake to make sure the car doesn't roll away on us. So before we actually try and run that winch, you'll notice that if you tried to pull that out now, it's not going to come out. That's because the winch is still engaged. So there's a little switch inside there, it's just in there.
Yeah.
You see it?
Yes.
It's like a lever, and if you turn that around, that'll disengage the winch into free spool, and we should be able to pull that out now. Try that.
Yes.
Feel that?
Yep.
And then this is where that term winch runner comes in. You get to run it all the way up there.
I could do with the exercise anyway, if we're being honest.
Good luck with that one. I'll wait down here.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is just give it a little test fire, make sure that's working.
So Martin, Jesse and Borgie are down at the car at the moment. They're getting the winch prepared, and they'll be bringing it back up to us very, very shortly. We need to prepare the tree trunk protector. And the reason for this is that because the winch rope itself is actually quite narrow, if we were to just wrap that around the tree, there's a chance that it might end up ring barking the tree. We're going to use this tree trunk protector. It's nice and wide, spreads the load around the tree, and it gives us the ability to attach the winch rope to something nice and solid for the tree. So if you want to grab around that side, I'll just pass that around here. Bring it down as low as we can. Make sure there's no twists in it. So we need to make sure that the tree trunk protector is of sufficient strength, and having the tag on there shows that it does. So it says 13,000 kilos. It is a 5 metre long strap, and it's 80 millimetres wide. So without the tag, we shouldn't use it.
It's a big hill, and Jesse's just made it to the top to connect the winch cable with the tree trunk protector.
Howdy.
Thank you, Jesse. Much appreciated.
You're very welcome.
All right, so Jesse, may I have the winch rope, please? Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
We've interlocked both ends of the tree trunk together like that, so it's not one. It almost becomes one piece. Make sure that the gate is closed. Now we're ready to winch. So what we'll do now, engage the winch. We'll get them to put a tiny bit of tension on the winch rope to make sure there's no twists in the tree trunk protector and everything is in nice straight line. We'll then put some dampeners in place, right?
So what's the point of that damper on the winch rope, John?
So should the winch rope part for whatever reason, the dampener is there to encourage the winch rope to the ground.
Got the TJM wireless controller for the 9,500 pound winch. John is letting me know what he wants done. I'm going to be controlling the winch as well as steering and, if needed, driving the Amarok out. Winching in.
Notice that no one is standing around. When performing a vehicle recovery, it's a good idea to stand a distance of 1.5 to 2 times the length of the winch rope away. Standing behind a tree is a good idea, but the safest thing is to get really far back so that if the winch rope breaks or the winching tree comes down, you aren't anywhere near them.
Now, I like to winch for a little bit at a time and then just stop for a couple of seconds, let the winch cool down, and also let the battery charge up a little bit because winches draw a fair bit of juice.
Okay, you have half a metre to the first dampener, 300, 200, 100, stop.
You know what's really cool? With this Amarok, the camera at the front was actually showing me exactly where that damper was too. So I had comms and I had eyes the whole time. See, John's so experienced with this, he's a driver trainer by trade. So you could see the communication there. It was simple, very calm. There was one point of contact as well. I don't have 10 people out here telling me what to do.
Okay mate, clear the winch. One metre to dampener, 500, 3, 2, 1, stop. So when it comes to kinetic recoveries, now kinetic recoveries are sometimes known as snatch recoveries or an aggressive tow. Now these guys at Sabre Off-Road have made a kinetic rope which is a little bit better than the average snatch strap. It's got 50% more stretch to it, which means that you get a much softer tow. Also, advantageous to use a bridle on the vehicle that's being recovered. So you're attaching to 2 rated recovery points on the vehicle.
A soft shackle is a stronger, lighter, and therefore safer alternative to the traditional steel shackles. Our tag tow bar is suitably attached to the chassis for recovery purposes, ensuring that when our vehicle is pulled, parts of the vehicle aren't going to come flying off. These rated recovery points have beveled edges which suit soft shackles. But if you're using these particular Sabre soft shackles, they are actually bound in fibre that is cut resistant so they can be used on any rated recovery point. You'll notice the tag tow bar is fitted flush for minimum overhang and maximum off-road clearance.
The other thing to remember is that we use rated recovery points, not tie down points. Now tie down points are there specifically for that job, to tie the vehicle down and hold it in position whilst it's being transported.
One of the most common places to require a recovery is on sand. A set of Exit Tracks recovery boards are essential if you're planning on hitting the beach or the desert.
Hey John, do the Baywatch run with the floaties, mate. I've never seen you swing Baywatch.
I've never watched Baywatch.
Oh, come off it.
All right, so unfortunately, the sand is so soft. We're a little bit bogged, but we're just gonna find it hard to get moving from this point. So we dragged out the Exit Tracks, and now what we're gonna do is use them as a little bit of a shovel to clear some of the area in front of the tyre, because we're gonna go forward.
So that you're not going uphill.
We're not going uphill, but what we need to do is we need to dig underneath the tyre enough so that the tyre rolls straight onto the board. And that means digging almost all the way up underneath the tyre.
So we live right next door to Gari, formerly known as Fraser Island. And so we have been bogged many a times. We're over there quite a bit. So getting bogged in the sand is nothing new to me. But it's always been someone else who's done the getting unbogged part of it.
All right, so this board is now in place. I've done one.
Hey, just do a couple more digs, sorry John. Go for it now.
We fell into those roles where husband would get us unbogged and I'd sort of occupy the kids and just keep them out of his hair while he, gets the car sorted and unbogged. I would love to be more independent and just be able to do that by myself. You're looking a bit red in the face there, John. Would you like me to take over?
I'm not used to the work, Jesse, I'm really not.
Let's share the load.
So I've done one, the rest are yours.
Hey John, is this enough?
A little bit more please, Jesse.
I feel like you're getting revenge on me at this point.
I would never take revenge on you.
That's looking pretty good, Martin.
So is that in deep enough?
That's deep enough, yeah. The wheel's going to fall straight on top. Spot on. If you did have another 2, we could put them under the trailer tyres, and what that would do is reduce the amount of resistance in front of the trailer tyres as well.
All right, so that's good, that's great, that's underneath. The rear is underneath. Just a little bit of momentum. I think that they are so good, Evan, that we'll just drive out of here quite easily now.
Let's see if it moves.
Bit of willy. A little bit more.
We're off, okay, and then keep going.
Just keep going.
Then...
That was completely undramatic.
Well, John, I've got to admit, I've been recovered more times than I'd like to remember, but safety, it's always had to be number one.
It is, and I've just completely forgotten all of my life.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Recoveries are one of those things that can be very embarrassing, so people tend to rush them.
The big thing to remember though is recoveries, it's just part of the off-road lifestyle.
So we hope that you at home are a little clearer now on how to do recoveries correctly and also how to deal with breakdowns should they happen.
And on that note, we'll see you back here next time when we ask the question, are you RV safe?
Next episode, we see if our learners have become RV safe. We learn about hitching, and then our learners face their final and biggest challenge, reversing into a campsite with an audience. Tune in to see how they handle the pressure. RV Safe is a safety initiative of the CMCA, Australia's largest RV club. Join the CMCA to meet like-minded travellers, for discounts on insurance, access to RV parks, the Wanderer magazine, and their popular GeoWiki X-Travel app.
One.
Fun to be in the CMCA.